Alrighty. Welcome back, crew, to episode 2 of Chasing Better with Knoxy. I hope you're all having an amazing week so far. It's time for round 2, as we said, and it's probably the best time to introduce our amazing, super powerful, kind of tiny special guest today. We have Miss Sonya Potthoff. Come on down. How are you, mate?
Not too bad, actually, yeah.
Awesome. So, wanted to have a chat with you today about your kind of journey in the last probably 18 months since I've known you. It's been a whirlwind of ups and downs, which is pretty cool and exciting. And just kind of delve into like some of the things you've gone through and experienced. I know you've had some pretty big kind of mental battles along the way, which is very cool. Obviously, we'll see if we can dive into that in terms of ways that we can hopefully, help others out there that are in the similar boat, whether it comes to training or just, things they're struggling with everyday life. I think it's really cool to see the growth you've had. So well done on that. And I suppose the other awesome thing is, just have some fun with it today. So I suppose we'll dive right into it. Give us a bit of a background of, growing up as a kid. Like, what's a bit of your background? Like, where did you kind of go to school? Like, where are you from originally? Yeah.
So originally I was born out in the wheat belt.
Yep.
And then moved when I was about 8 to Donnybrook. So country towns, small towns, not a lot of people.
How many people do you reckon were living in Donnybrook? Like 1,000 or?
Oh, it's a bit bigger than that, but yeah, there's definitely nowhere near, I don't know, maybe a couple of thousand.
Yeah, cool. What's Donnybrook big for? Like, what's it kind of known for?
It's known for its apples.
Yep.
Because they've got the Apple Fun Park now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
An Apple Fun Park.
An Apple Fun Park. That's
Okay.
the biggest playground Donnybrook's called.
Nice. Okay, sweet. So, like, what's did you do all of your school there? Like, what was the go there?
Yeah, I did from, year 3 to year 10 in Donnybrook. Then obviously had to go to Bunbury for year 11 and 12.
Yeah, cool.
Because Donnybrook doesn't have year 11 and 12.
Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. So the kind of upper schooling was done in town. Yeah. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, sweet. No, that's cool. So, essentially, like, what was life growing up for you? Like, were you an active kid? Like, did you do sports and stuff like that? Like,
I did sports. Like, I played basketball up until year 10. Every year.
Even with your height, or like?
Yeah, even with my height. I have a championship medal in basketball.
Very
as well,
cool.
so
Okay, that's a new thing I didn't know. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So even with my height, that didn't hold me back.
Okay, very cool. So as a kid, and obviously playing basketball, so what kind of age were you playing that?
That would have been about 13 or 12 to 15.
So kind of that kind of start of high school.
Yeah, the start of high school.
Adolescence. Yeah, nice. So, like, I suppose to delve into a bit of the psyche behind that, like, what was it like? Did you have any issues with being a shorter, because you would have been probably about the same height as you are now, roughly? Yeah, sweet. So, for those listening at home, Sonya, how tall would you be roughly?
155.
Yeah, sweet. So she's, shorter than the average bear, but that's okay. All good things come in small packages, which is great. So that's good. So what was it like as a kid being kind of on that shorter end of the scale? Like, for myself, I knew, like, I was always the biggest kid in my class in terms of weight wise, so I was a big kid. So I always found it kind of difficult to defend against, little narky comments and things like that when it came to choosing sports teams and stuff. Like, what was that like for you?
You've always got people taking shots at your height, whether it's just like the short joke, like, hey shorty, or stuff like that. People will just come up and stick their arm on your shoulder because you're the perfect height to
Yep.
And it's like, you just kind of build it up against that you just get used to it.
So did you find it easy to like kind of own that, and it was kind of like your thing? Like, was it like something difficult that you had to deal with at first?
It was definitely something difficult I had to deal with. Like, even though I've always been short, like, it's always something I've struggled with. Like, I've never really owned it. Like, I'm short, that's my thing. That's not what I do. I kind of just learned to like brush off the comments as, it's having a joke because I am short.
Yeah, cool. Okay, sweet. I mean, Australians are horrible at taking the piss out of each other. Like, we do it all the time for everything under the sun, as we know. So, I mean, like, I totally understand where you're coming from with that. And I mean, do you find that kind of helped you grow like some stronger character as you kind of went through adolescence and into that kind of early adulthood?
I think honestly it just helped me like hide when people got to me.
Okay.
From them.
Yeah. So
like,
you
did help me grow, but it also helped like basically made me shut down some of my emotions.
Okay. So you kind of went more to that defensive path.
Yeah.
And kind of a bit more reclusive.
Yeah.
So kind of like shied away from stuff. Yeah, cool. Do you find that kind of led to you being a bit more quiet? Were you not as outgoing? Like, did it kind of stop you from doing anything? Do you think?
I've always been quiet, and I've never been an outgoing person.
Yep.
But I would say part of it, just slowly building up over time.
Yep.
Did just make it more and more.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to want to hang around someone if all they're going to do is make fun of me.
Yeah, totally cool. I love that. That's awesome. Find better people.
Yeah.
I love it. That's good. Awesome. So, I mean, with that in mind, like, do you have any tips for anyone out there that might be struggling with, it could be bullying, it could be just that, name calling and stuff like that, kids are so honestly great at because that childhood innocence, they don't know any better sometimes. Like, was there anything that you kind of used to kind of just take it in your stride and brush it off? Like, was there any sort of mechanisms you used?
There was nothing really that I used.
Mm-hmm.
Like now with it, I've found those people I can talk to, those ones I know I can trust.
Yep.
And that's helped me a lot.
Oh, okay, so finding better people to talk to.
Yep. To talk to,
yep.
Even if like, you're still around the ones that bully you. Like if you've got that one person you can talk to.
Yeah. And
just let it all out with, it's such a big help.
So finding a better outlet.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Did you find that you were ever talking to negative people about it that you weren't quite sure that they were negative first? And you were like, oh, hey, I've got an issue. And then you find out that you're like, cool, you're the wrong person I need to be talking to. Was there a bit of that? Yeah.
Like, honestly, it's so hard to open up to someone. And then once you do, you find out, like, they just, like, basically, if they take your issues and make them their own.
Yep.
Like, it can be hard.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And that's where you kind of just, like, it does hurt, honestly, that first time.
Yeah, of course.
That negative person.
Yeah.
But it's just, you kind of just have to keep pushing yourself to try and find that one person.
Well, you're allowing yourself to be vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
Like that's something that I've talked to a lot about with members and even just friends and family now that I do a bit of coaching is you allowing yourself to be vulnerable is actually extremely difficult at times.
Yeah.
It can seem simple, but it's not an easy thing to do. Like, especially if you can't find the right person to confide in or bounce ideas off or, just open up to. Which I think that's
yeah,
really
and
cool.
Especially if you think you've found that person,
yep.
and like you tell them a lot, then all of a sudden, like 6 months down the line, suddenly it turns back on you.
Yeah.
That can hurt the most.
Yeah, right. Okay, cool. Awesome. So a little bit of insight into kind of that childhood sort of like adolescent thing. Like I love talking about that with not only the members because you can start to see patterns as to why they do some things as an adult now. I think which is really cool. Again, there's never going to be that right or wrong answer. I find there's always like everyone's going to have a point of difference. Which I mean, even for yourself, like you were just looking for that kind of person. Who did you find was kind of like your go-to person as an outlet when you did find someone that was like worthy of your, vulnerability?
I actually started therapy.
Okay, yep.
So I went and saw a counsellor.
Okay, yeah.
And she became like my go-to person.
Okay, perfect.
Like, and then through that, I started to learn, and then like I found a couple of friends through work.
Okay, cool.
And then after that, once I joined the gym, there was a couple of friends I found through there.
Yep.
And now I'm still friends with like all of them, and it's just like you slowly just build up.
Yeah, perfect.
And like a couple of them, like I found to be negative people as well. So you kind of, it hurts to like cut them out a bit.
Yeah.
But then once you start talking to the others more, it's easier because you can see how much of a negative person they were. So
I suppose you start to see, and I suppose do you find you value your energy and time a lot more now? Yeah. And because you're now aware that, okay, if I give my time and energy to this person, is it going to be worthwhile? And are they going to give me that same sort of respect, love, care back? Or is it just going to be a blank piece of paper? Like it's just going to be a blank wall? Because if you're just going to have someone that's just going to be like, basically, this is what we're doing kind of thing. Yep.
even if you're not free, it's like different to someone asking you like, hey, are you free for a chat?
Yeah.
And then like checking up on you.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, cool. So I suppose you find that those ones that ended up being a bit more negative, they weren't really giving anything back, were they? Like it was kind of you were doing all the talking and there was no sort of like, hey, how you doing? Like I suppose that's a big thing, right? So.
Or like once you tell them your problem, it might be minor, all of a sudden they've got a bigger problem about something that's a similar thing.
Yeah, okay.
So they make it about them, even though it's like you're trying to get your problem just to someone.
So they kind of push your vulnerability off to the side and go, oh, well, actually I'm a bit more important, so let's just worry about you later. Cool. And then it just comes like about everything else, so that's fine. Awesome. So I suppose probably the next kind of big thing is like, what was life like for you? Because you've obviously been training with us at TBC for a good probably 12 to 18 months now.
I think 18 months now.
Yeah, so one of the OGs, which is very cool, very exciting. Fist bump for that. Nice. Love it. But yeah, so what was life like kind of leading into the gym? Like had you done, like we know you'd done a bit of basketball through juniors. Like had you done any sort of sport as an adult or?
No. Pretty much apart from horse riding, which I just do like casually.
Yep.
Like, yeah, I've never done any sport as an adult.
Yep.
And yeah, it was just one of those things. Like I've always looked at joining the gym, but just haven't had the confidence because I've had no idea what I would have been doing.
Okay, yeah.
No idea about training, no idea about nutrition.
Yeah.
Constantly like second guessing, I guess, joining.
Yeah, so I suppose did you find you just weren't sure how to take that kind of next step? Like you just weren't sure what the go-to action was?
Basically, I wasn't sure like what's the first step to take. Like obviously the first step is to pick a gym and join. But then it's like, with training, nutrition, like even just workouts and how to do them properly. Like I had no idea about any of that.
Cool. So I suppose what was, like I asked with Loz last week, like what was kind of, give us a rundown of day one showing up to the gym, like in the car, were you like nervous as hell, like did you not want to rock up, like what was the go, what was going through your head?
I turn up early for everything, or I used to. And pretty much that first day, I was out in that car park for like 20 minutes. Just like mentally like working myself up to walk in those doors. Just like, it's just, you just got to train yourself. Yeah, it's a new experience. Yeah, it might not work out. But it could be a lot of fun. Yeah,
awesome. So I suppose with that in mind, like did you find there was a lot of negative pressures from your own head going, you're not good enough, you're probably not going to make it? Was there any of that sort of negative talk in your head, or was it just a basic fear side of things?
There was a bit of negative talk, but not like I wasn't good enough. More like, you're not going to fit in.
Okay, so that accepted some kind of worth. Yeah, sweet. Okay,
so it's more that social, like you're not going to fit in. Like they're group classes, like you might not fit in. What if everyone hates you there? Kind of thing.
Okay.
Like.
Had you found you had that same sort of mentality when it came to, going out with friends and stuff like that? Did you ever find that was something you would be aware of?
That is something where, especially going out with like, friends and their friends.
Yeah, okay. Like, when you're meeting those new people that are add-ons. Yeah. So how do you kind of get through that in a social situation, like especially when you're out and about, for example? Like do you have any kind of go-to things that kind of get in your head and you're like, nah, stuff it, let's actually think this way? Like what?
I mean, to be fair, most of the time when I used to meet new people, I used to be drinking.
So
I used to use alcohol as that like confidence booster.
Yeah. But Australians are good at that. Actually, most people are good at that, yeah. As we know,
It's great, liquid confidence.
Like, yeah.
But then I suppose, lately it's been just, you just got to put yourself out there. And just telling yourself, like, if they don't like you, it's not like you have to see them every day anyway.
Perfect.
Like,
I love that.
But if you make a new friend, like, there's someone else you can talk to.
So
it's just that mental workaround.
So you're starting to see opportunities to find better people instead of opportunities to not be liked. I suppose that's a really cool way of
So basically
right?
looking for the positive reasons to go rather than the negative reasons to not go.
Awesome. Where do you think that's come from? Because obviously that must have stemmed from somewhere, because again, you didn't have that skill 18 months ago. Right? So where do you think that's kind of grown from?
I think it's just like between the counselling and then like the confidence I've gotten from the gym.
Yep.
Like, you know, got friends at the gym and every week it's like, you know, they're pushing you to up your weights and it's kind of like, but it's a confidence thing. It's not just like, you know, yeah, I can lift that. It's more like, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, okay.
Which you can then apply that mentality to other situations.
So that kind of confidence and growth in the gym has also led to that mental confidence of I'm actually pretty damn worthy.
Yeah.
Like you'll start to look at people and go, cool, are you worthy of my time?
Yeah, basically because you're constantly hitting like personal bests on your records and stuff in the gym.
That's really cool.
It's that confidence boost that.
And I suppose most people when they join gyms and they like start a new skill or they like start learning how to play guitar or whatever the case may be, pick up a new sport, whatever, take a new job on, for example. I suppose a big thing that a lot of people, and even myself, I found when I first became a coach was like, cool, are people going to actually want to be coached by me? Like all I am is an ex-fatty. Like that was my thinking, right? So I suppose something that I've grown in and become more accepting of is the fact of like, yeah, are you worthy of my time? Like, are you going to pull the line if you are going to be a client of mine? Like, I can't want it more than you, and like I can't keep getting emotional when you don't want to do the work. It's like awesome. I've now learned that it's like, cool, this person is worthy of my time. I want to coach you. Right? Whereas with you now, you're kind of seeing, awesome. Are you worthy of my time and hanging out with, or are you just going to hang crap on me and like call me little and like never bounce cool conversation with me? Awesome. Is it a one-way street? Not interested.
Yeah, right. And especially because like I work mostly nights.
Yep.
So it's like, yeah, most nights on the weekends I'm not free.
Yep.
So it might be one weekend a month I can hang out with.
Yeah.
And if you like can't accept that like my work is obviously number one priority for me, then it's like, is this really a friendship or is this more? Yeah,
cool. Understandable. One-way street.
Yeah.
Perfect. So I suppose that big message there to everyone out there that's listening is like every single human being on this planet, I find, is worthy of other people's attention for whatever reason it may be. I think a big negative issue that the world's going on with at the moment is so many people, like I said with Lauren last week, is, you know, they get stuck in the comparison game. They're always comparing themselves to the perfect Instagram model. They're always comparing themselves to that coach that's online and all this sort of stuff. You know, that movie star that's, you know, got the perfect teeth and the perfect hair and the perfect lifestyle. I can guarantee you as soon as they walk away from that highlight reel that's Facebook and Instagram, their day-to-day life could actually be quite sad.
Yeah.
And that's kind of an eye-opening thing for a lot of general population people because they're like, oh, okay, they're just human beings. Like that's really powerful to know, right? Because we don't see that side of things. I personally love watching behind the scenes stuff for everything because you literally see real stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, which is very, very cool. And I suppose for yourself, like that growth is very powerful, and I think you should really pat yourself on the back for that because that's
especially because like I've always had this like mental image of like what I should look like and what I should be like.
Yep.
And honestly, in the last 12 months, like I've slowly, I'll say, been letting that go. It's not just the numbers on the scales that matter.
Yeah.
It's more than that. Like.
So what do you, from a training point of view, because this is really powerful for guys that are, you know, just starting at the gym, they've been there for 6 months, they could be there for 12 months or whatever. Like, what do you find is more important? Like, what's kind of your priority?
Like, honestly, I think my priorities for training is just, like, obviously it's making sure I get there at least 3 times a week.
Yep.
Because obviously, working nights, I need to, like, sleep. And sometimes, it just catches up with me.
Yeah, sweet, yeah.
But then, like, honestly, like when I get to the gym, my priority is just to try and do as well as I did last week.
Yep.
And not compare myself to the person next to me.
Yeah,
like,
sweet.
Because I'll probably never be able to lift as much as Lauren.
Yeah, cool, yeah.
But at the same time, like, when I do try and, like, I suppose, have a bit of competition with it.
Yeah, cool.
But, like, even if it's just, like, speed rather than lifting. Like, if I can, you know, lift my weights at roughly the same rate she can do hers. Then it's
awesome.
And
so
I just try and improve a tiny bit each week, even if it's only like 1 kilo in something.
Yeah,
or
perfect.
like 5 kilos, like it's still an improvement. And even if I have to drop back because like something goes wrong the next week, or I want to work on my technique, I'm okay with that now.
Yeah, cool. All right. So again, like you're now seeing that that next big message is you're not trying to be perfect anymore.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to just be that little bit better each week.
Yeah.
And I think from an overall message, and I love that as one of my messages because I talk about it all the time. As you're well aware, I bang on about it all the time. But the great thing is like when you can finally shatter that belief system of if I'm not perfect by tomorrow, it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
I think you just unlock so much more potential in yourself. Like, do you feel you're so much more capable of stuff now?
I am. I definitely am. Especially because, like, you know, with everything that's happened in the past 12 months, like I've fallen off the bandwagon a couple of times. Like I've had weeks gaps from the gym, but I've always just gone back with that new mindset. Like I'm not going to be able to lift as strong as I was like 3 weeks ago, but I'm back. I'll just get back into it, and it's not a new starting point. It's just the start of a new chapter. Yeah, exactly. And I think the other great thing as well, and a really powerful message is making sure that you are okay with having to restart. Like starting again is okay. Like there's nothing wrong with that, because again, it shows that you're human. It shows that you have belief in your ability to go, well, no, I am worthy of a second shot. I am worthy of a third shot, because that's okay. Like people fall down, people have bad days. Like when I lost my dad, there was actually 3 weeks I didn't train. I probably put on nearly 15 to 20 kilos. I was eating crap. I just had no self-worth in that time because I was comparing myself to, oh, well, now that dad's gone, I'm not going to be good enough to train anyone. Like that's what I was thinking. And I suppose for yourself, like you have these, you know, emotional issues that may be going on at home, or you might have had a breakup or whatever, and everything just stops, and you're just like, oh, well, now that I've stopped, I can never start again. Right? And I think that's just such a powerful thing that you've shared, is that you were able to get back on the horse. You were able to step back up again and go, cool, all right, what do I need to do to start again? Like what's that first step again? Well, I felt great when I went and trained. I know that I've got my positive people around me. I've got my tribe, I've got my community. And I know that I've already proven to myself, not to the coach, to myself, that I can do this. Yeah. I just need to do it again. Yeah. And that's okay. And I think that's a really, really cool message, because so many people think that they just get one shot at everything and then they can never try again. Whereas I love to use that expression of, you know, how many times as a kid, like a baby or a toddler, before they're walking, how many times do they fall over on the floor and then try and get back up again? Hundreds of times, right? Like, you know, and that sort of innocence is there because they haven't had adults or friends or people talking to them going, oh, well, you failed, don't worry about it, go try something else, right? Like, it's like, when you're failing and making mistakes, you're still learning though.
Yeah.
If you fail something and stop, like, what have you learned from that?
Exactly. Very cool. So, some really, really deep stuff there. I suppose probably the big thing to punch on to now would be, what sort of stuff have you kind of found you've struggled with the training side of things and the food side of things, with, you know, getting to the gym, making all these changes and stuff like that? Like, what were some big hurdles you kind of had to overcome at first? Like, what?
I mean, like, because I work in fast food.
Yep.
Like, obviously.
Let's talk Maccas. Let's talk Maccas.
It's really hard, like, especially if you're at work for like 9.5 hours or 8 hours. Like, it's really hard to not just like snack on 6 nuggets. Yep. Or just get yourself a nice coffee or a frappe or soft drink. So
to give some perspective, you were working just as a staffie at Maccas when you first joined us, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. So, like, have you found, because you're now doing management, awesome. Yeah. Have you found any changes, like obviously more stress potentially because you're now that management role?
Yeah,
like...
there's more stress, and like when I was staff, I was only doing like 4 hours.
Yep.
So I could eat before and then go home and sleep straight after.
So a bit easier for time structure.
Yeah,
cool.
A bit easier for time structure, whereas now it's like 8-hour shifts. And when you're on your feet during management, like you don't always get that time to sit down and eat in the middle of your shift, so you're trying to like just grab a quick bite here and there.
So there's no mindfulness to the eating, you're always on the go, you're always probably thinking about something else while shoving something in the mouth, so you don't actually realise.
You're thinking about your times, you're thinking about your drive-through, like especially now, like you've got to think about sanitisation. And making sure everyone in dining's checked in properly. So there's a lot more stress there from your current position. And I suppose, what sort of techniques are you working on to try and get some normality, I suppose, back to your daily routine? Like, is there anything you're working with currently? There's not currently really anything I'm working with. Just like I'm trying to make sure I take food with me to work.
Awesome. So
even
prepping,
if it's just a couple of like snack things. Like the other day I took strawberries and then the proven ketones.
Yeah.
For my shift. And like I didn't eat anything at work. I always make sure I've got my water bottle with me.
Yeah, cool.
So I'm not like drinking the Coke and
sweet.
coffees.
It's easy when it's self-serve right there in front of you, right?
Especially like sometimes, you know, when an order gets cancelled and the drink's just there.
Yeah.
Like if you can't use it for the next order, then
it's like, oh, who's having this? Oh, might as well be me. Very easy to do. No, I hear. I used to have the same issue working at the cinemas. I was a projectionist there up in Broome, and there'd be people that would bring their drinks back and go, oh, I wanted a different flavour, and it's kind of just sitting there, and you're like,
it's a
right.
waste not to have it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, cool. Do I need it? Probably not. But so I think it's that like availability, and I think a really powerful thing you mentioned is that prepping. So you're still allowing yourself time to make sure you've got food ready to go.
And it's like occasionally, like last night, I had one of the frozen Coke no sugars because it got made extra.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, there's probably a fair amount of calories still in it.
Yep.
Didn't log it on Chrono.
Yeah. But I mean, another thing you've kind of struggled with is things like the frappes and stuff like that. So how are you adjusting? Because I know there'd be a lot of people out there that drink coffee like all day long. I know even a couple of the guys that listened to Lauren's last week were like, oh, she doesn't drink that much coffee. Okay. But what's sort of your way around that? Like, how do you find you're dealing with kind of easing that so you're not having them all day? Because I know you used to drink a couple a day.
Yeah, like I used to have like 2 or 3 iced coffees a day.
Yep.
Like, and if you, once you put the sugar syrup in that.
Yep.
Like that's when now I'm making sure I've got my water bottle, but I'm also doing the ketones.
Yep.
And I'm finding if I have one of them in the middle of shift at work, I don't need that coffee.
Okay, cool.
I haven't even been having a coffee at the start of the shift.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, so if I have those ketones, I don't feel like I need the coffee.
Perfect, yeah. And you're finding that you're functioning better without relying on that constant quick hit of caffeine?
Yeah,
perfect.
Especially because like, I'm not trying to drink it like right at the end of the shift, right before I'm trying to go to sleep either as well.
Awesome.
So it's definitely helped with the sleep pattern.
Beautiful. Do you find as well, because you're prepping food, that you're able to get through those longer shifts now as well? Like, because you're potentially having, say, like a structured breakfast or a lunch before you start your shift, and then maybe like an actual meal when you come home, or like, are you finding that that's helping you out a lot?
It is helping out a lot, because like you could just wake up in the morning, like go to the gym, then get home, then just chuck your food in the microwave if you need to heat it up.
Awesome.
And just eat it. You don't need to think about like, oh yeah, I've got to cook this. I'm gonna like make this first.
Perfect.
And then you can just grab the container, go to work, and you've got something to eat. You don't need to think about cooking when you get home either.
Fantastic.
It's just basically grab and go. It's so much better.
Fantastic. I think the most awesome thing we can say today is that if you are working at Maccas and you ever try and come into me saying that you don't have time to have better food, Sonya is living proof that it is possible, and that is awesome. I'm sure Maccas don't want to hear that, but anyway.
I mean, there's challenges, like now we've got the donut balls, and it's like...
They're constantly bringing out ways to tempt you.
The new burgers as well, because we get like pushed. Not pushed, I'd say. It gets recommended that we try each new product.
Ah, right, okay. Yeah,
so,
it's
but I mean, like when there's 2 new burgers, like the chicken and the beef, like you don't need to try both, obviously.
Yeah, awesome.
It's like making that decision, like maybe for one day I'll try like the chicken.
Awesome.
I don't need the mozzarella sticks because I've already tried those.
Perfect. Yes, I've heard all about them from you, and I'm sure they're amazing. I suppose probably a big thing to work on now would be, like, are you finding the gains mentally that you've had in terms of knowing how to kind of view people better in terms of worth and self-value and all that sort of stuff? Are you finding that that's being very helpful with that more managerial role now? Like, are you finding that you're able to help staff better, you're able to converse better with like people that you work with in that kind of high tension situation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you don't understand what they're going through as well, like some of them come in, they've had a bad day, you can see it on their face. They don't really like always want to be at work. That's where you need to just talk to them for a couple of minutes, find out what's going on, and then you can sort of find the role like that fits them. So obviously if they've had a really bad day and they're a bit snappy at people, you're not going to put them in a position where they're conversing with the customer.
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah,
you're on the grill. It's
yeah.
like you're flipping nuggets and that's it.
So yeah, you can still keep them productive at work.
Yep.
But maybe you make sure they have a good day as well.
Yeah.
And even if it's just like hitting their targets for the day, all of a sudden they've had something better with their day as well.
That is awesome. So you've not only learned how to celebrate wins yourself in your own training, your own mental health, all that sort of stuff, and just your general day-to-day, you're now able to pass that on to others to go, cool, have you had a win today?
Yeah.
Like that is fantastic. I love the fact that you're able to kind of spread that now as well, because that's probably the best message you can ever have. It's like, cool, have you had a win today? Did you get up? Cool, you've got another chance to go again.
But yes, what do they say? Not every day is good, but there's something good in every day.
There you go. I love it. Oh, good. We're coming out with the proverbs and everything. Nice. Confucius would be very proud of that one. That was good. Awesome, man. So, like, I suppose probably the last thing that I love to close off with is, like, what are you looking forward to in the next 6 to 12 months? Like, what does Sonya 6 to 12 months from now look like? Like, from a mental health side of things, from a relationship side of things, even just your training side of things. Like, what's that kind of looking like for yourself?
I mean, we'll get the big one out of the way. I'm not looking for a relationship.
Well, there you go. No worries.
Like, something might happen and change that right now.
Perfect.
Like, yeah, so basically I'm just focusing on work.
Yep.
And basically improving, obviously, myself at work. So I'm going to hit my shift targets a bit more.
Perfect, yeah.
Frequently. And then with that, hitting my targets at the gym.
Yep.
Yeah, just making sure, I get my food in for the day.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can just, up one weights, even just like my squats, like I love squats.
Yeah, beautiful, yep.
That's the one I mainly focus on because it's what I always want to try and get better on.
So I suppose in closing, you're really happy that you're kind of back at the top of your priority list, right?
Yeah, basically, I'm at the top of my priority list. So, and with that, obviously subcategories like work, basically I'm not looking to put anyone before myself though.
That is awesome, bro. Yes, I love it. So I think we'll leave it at that. That has been an absolutely fantastic session with you. Thank you so much for coming on. And a huge message to everyone out there that once you're able to put yourself first, like everything else just gets that little bit better. I think that's really
does.
Awesome. Thank you for your time, Sonya. It's been an absolute pleasure. I know the weather's atrocious outside, so it's nice and warm in here today. But yeah, so we'll leave it at that. Thanks, guys. Check Sonya's progress out on Instagram, Facebook. Sonya Potthoff. She's on Insta as well. We're always tagging her in the gym stuff, so you'll see her in there too.
Even if I'm not on camera.
Yeah. No, she's always part of the crew. Some awesome gains there, and can't wait to see what the next 12 months holds for you and beyond. And just some really, really powerful points there today, mate. So thanks for sharing and appreciate it. Good.